Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb. Let's do the whole thing again. 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb Schlinker is also a pilot. And Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have got to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. If you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or go ahead and search for Barb. You'll find her on all of the popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, etc. Every week, Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about the housing market and one of the largest assets, the home. Barb, what are we covering today?
Well, Richard, thank you. I'm excited about today's show because I think it's very relevant to what's going on in the market right now. And the first one is about how do you sell a house when you're in a uncertain market? What do I mean by that? So the traditional process is you go hire a realtor and you ask the realtor what you think the house will sell for, or you pick your own price, you put it on the market, and it's not what you expect. And nowadays, correct me if I'm wrong, Richard, but aren't people expecting things to happen really fast, like for their house to sell in a week now?
I think everybody's got immediate gratification, and they assume that, yes, you post it, within a week or two, it is sold, and you move on to the next thing. And as we well know, that is not always the case.
It's not the case, and there's a lot of factors involved, but I will say that it's definitely a pricing function. So we'll talk about that and how you can win in any market. And then the next topic is about what if you have a house to sell? Did you know, Richard, that 70 to 80% of home buyers have to sell a home before they buy? Did you know that?
I did not know that, Barb. I knew that there was a percentage. I had no idea that the percentage was that high.
Yeah, so most agents don't have a solution for that. They'll typically say, oh, wait till your home goes under contract, then don't worry. You could just send an offer contingent on your home selling, right? And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So you really need to make sure that you have the right you're in a position to be able to make your next move. Most people don't really want to sell their home without a plan. A lot of people actually go buy their next home first. But what if they need their net proceeds to do that? We're going to show you 6 different programs where you can go buy your next home first without selling your current home and without worrying about a sale contingency. It's pretty exciting. I'm excited. I get excited about that topic because most agents do the traditional thing. And I'll tell you, Richard, almost every week I get requests to, hey, will you ask your seller if they'll just take their home off the market and wait for me to sell my home? Oh, by the way, my home is not on the market yet. You're just going to have to trust me. How do you think most sellers would react to that?
That's wishful thinking, right?
Yeah, they do it all the time. It's kind of funny. The third topic is just some basic stuff about how to get your house ready to show. Now, I know there's all kinds of cool stuff on YouTube and on the internet, but we're going to kind of deep dive on just tap into my own experiences about the best way to deal with showings and how to actually prepare so that when your buyer comes, they are impressed. And then the very last topic is kind of a sad topic, but unfortunately, it's a growth business right now. That if you bought a home back in 2020, even 2019 through 2022, or even a little bit longer than that, and then you have to turn around and sell that home in just a few years, guess what? You probably if you put zero down, don't have enough equity to resell it and pay the selling costs, commission tax, title, settling up property taxes, all that stuff. So what do you do if you're upside down? I actually have had sellers stroke a check at closing to take it off their hands. That's not ideal for most people. So we're going to talk about what do you do if you bought a home at the top of the market and you don't have the equity to sell it, and some different options. And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings. Richard? He's frozen, frozen, frozen. Did we lose internet?
Her face is frozen.
Can you hear me?
Can now.
Where did we drop off?
That's not was the last thing you said.
That's not what. What was I talking about? Find out what I'm talking about.
I think it's something around along the lines of that's not realistic or gonna something like that.
So let me just do that intro all over again because I can't seem to reference what that is.
Hold on.
All right, ready?
Hold
Three.
on. Hold on. Hold on.
Hold on. And then we're introing or queuing up segment 4. What do you do if you're upside down? I actually have had sellers stroke a check at closing to take it off their hands. That's I know.
So it's about sellers.
I think I know what I was saying there, DJ. If you want to just take it from there.
Yeah. I'll start it in 3,
2, 1. Yeah, it's not ideal for home sellers to have to pay to take a house off their hands. So we have some other solutions that might work for people that are kind of tight on equity, but they need to sell their home and they need to sell it now. And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings. Richard?
Barb, you've been here selling real estate for over 25 years. Congratulations on that. You've seen all kinds of different real estate markets. Now, the real estate boom seems to be behind us. Interest rates are a bit higher. Home prices are higher. There are more homes on the market, and buyer demand seems to have softened. How do people sell a home in today's uncertain market?
Well, Richard, it's a good question, and a lot of people are not used to this. Just to put it in perspective, the real estate industry, in other words, the 55,000 real estates there are in Colorado, 87% get out of the business every 5 years. So there's not really any institutional experience hanging around too much for a lot of real estate agents, right? Many of them get in and out because a majority only sell a few homes a year, best case. So what happens when the market corrects? Anybody can sell a house when the market's flying high, watching the clouds go by. Stick it on the market. You can even use bad pictures and eventually it will sell. But if you need to sell at a certain price, or if you want to sell your home and you don't understand what's going on in the market, if you put your house on the market too high and then slowly walk the price down, it'll actually cost you more money than it would have had you put your house on the market at the right price in the first place. Every home seller wants the most money. Everybody wants the best terms. Everybody wants a fast, quick sale. I just got an inspection objection this past week where, no kidding, at least 40 items and 200,000 in repairs. Now, how would most sellers react to that, Richard?
I'd be trying to pick my jaw up from the floor. $200,000 in repairs.
Yeah. Easily. And it was like, what are your must-haves here? And then her answer was, well, did you and your seller not read what I sent you? I'm just like, don't insult me. I went to college. Give me a break. You don't even have to go to college to learn how to read. So it was just not realistic. And I think some agents think that is how they articulate their value. They try to get stuff for their clients. At the end of the day, what they might get is they might get that buyer out of a contract and they don't get that house.
Well, and the list of items is designed to be nonfiction, not fiction.
Mm-hmm. Well, what bugs me is like they wasted time. They had 10 different vendors come out and do very detailed bids on, we want this and we want that. Give me a bid for this and that. But then the email requesting these 200,000 in repairs, I said, well, really, we're not going to use these contractors. We just want you to give us some money so we could do the work ourselves. So they wasted everybody's time, including ours. And, they may not get the house in that scenario.
And why do I think if they got the house and they got all of that money for those corrections, they wouldn't make hardly any of those corrections and would just pocket the money? Boy, that's a scam.
Exactly.
I've seen
that's
with car repairs, home repairs too.
Yep. So, the reality in today's market, it's not the seller that determines the sales price. It's the market, it's the buyers, it's what the buyers are willing to pay. Buyers are very, very price sensitive because the interest rates have gone up. They have not gone down, yet the prices are still being held artificially high, looking back at this history where the prices just accelerated between 2018 and 2022, and then all stopped when the rates went up. So it's kind of a dilemma when you've got people that are reluctant to sell because they're sitting pretty on these low interest rate loans. So you don't have as much inventory on the market as you would expect to see in a correcting market. But it hurts you badly if you overprice a home. And a lot of what happens is you overprice the home. You finally get a clue when the buyers don't show up. You slowly walk the price down. And the side effects of doing that are the buyers are like, oh, well, they're lowering the price. They must be desperate. They must be motivated. I'll come in even lower. So it's a bad idea to test the market unless you're forced to do so. Like if an attorney says you got to market at this price, okay, we'll try it. And the way you can tell the market's kind of weak, I've got this graph in front of me that basically is statistics on the building inventory. And according to, some really good statistics out there, the builders they were told during the meltdown when they stopped building that it would take a long time to catch up. So they've done pretty well. If you see all the construction all around the area, they are catching up. But the buyer demand is just not there. The low line on that is buyer demand. The top two lines are the inventory. And so the builders are having a hard time selling their sitting inventory. That's why they're offering so many incentives, and we'll buy down your interest rate and we'll cover your landscaping and your window coverings and fries with that too. And the reason they're doing that, they wouldn't do that in a hot market, is they don't have as many buyers willing to make offers on their homes. And here's one tip that you have to understand. No amount of marketing in the world is going to offset an overpriced home. It doesn't matter how pretty it looks, how many videos you do, how many fancy pictures. It's not going to sell if it's overpriced. I hate to be that brutally honest, but I've sold well over 3,000 homes. I know in every kind of condition and price range. And of course, we're always going to try to present the home in the best light, but it's not just marketing. All the stars have to align, including and especially pricing. So if you are thinking of making a move, give a call to somebody that actually does this for a living on a regular basis and doesn't have a full-time job doing some other job like working at a car dealership. We'd love to talk with our home sellers. And one of the things that we bring to the table is our expertise, our market knowledge, and we can give you certainty in this market, including cash offers. Give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
So, Barb, here's the question. How do the home sellers know if the home is overpriced? There are so many ways to set a price. How do they know if it's overpriced?
The market is going to speak back immediately. Within 2 weeks, you will see very few showings. Buyers are not looking at the home online. You can see how many views and saves you have on many of the tech company websites. Buyers don't want to see it. The feedback is the price is too high. The feedback is, well, they're finding better homes. All those are clues that you're overpriced. There's a price for everything. I had a listing last year where it was pretty home, great lot. Everything was wonderful. We priced it here. We were getting onesies, twosies showings. And it wasn't until the seller systematically lowered the price to a point where we had a bidding war. And it wasn't below market. That was market value. When we got to a price point where 3 buyers at the same time said, I want it, I'm going to make my best offer. That's correct pricing. And you can tell by the demand, by the offer, by the showings, by the interest. So is this market different? Yeah, it's not the same as when it was, you really didn't have to make much effort to put a home on the market. But at the end of the day, it's all about price and nothing else. So you can't really, it's hard right now to look backwards and say, well, that home that's like mine sold for this price, why can't I get the same or more? It just doesn't work. And we are experts at doing that. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard.
We're going to take a short break. If you'd like to get in touch with Barb, that number is 719-301-3900 or barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, how homeowners are buying their next home before they're selling the current one. Happens all the time. Barb explains how it's done. I'm sorry for the gap there.
I had to cut a lot out of there.
No, that's okay. I'm fumbling through extra pages there. So I think we're good to go there. And you said 30,000 homes overall, right?
3,000.
3,000. Okay.
What I've sold?
Yeah,
over
that's
3,000.
why I wanted to make sure. I'm like, I thought that I heard 3,000. And then when I started to write it down, I put 30,000 and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. That's not possible. 3,000 is possible. 30,000. Jeez. All right. So let's see. 1 down and 3 to go. But I should be mentioning that in the live reads. That's impressive. 3,000 homes when you have other people who've maybe sold, 20 homes in their entire career.
Yeah.
All right. I've got number 2. I'm good to go.
Ready?
He's not. He's working on it.
Okay.
His computer is frozen. I think we're just now at a point where everything is going to lock up at some point. I don't, if I showed you, do you know who Nicole Wallace is? If I showed you, oh yeah, I know her because you recognize the face more so than the name.
Yeah.
She was doing an interview with Jim Acosta today. And she was talking about how she quit carrying any of the press conferences where you had Sarah Huckabee Sanders up there talking. She's like, because she just lied all the time. And it really just got on my nerves. And I'm like, Sarah Huckabee Sanders? I mean, Oh my God. Karine Jean-Pierre, you carried her. These people are so freaking delusional. Just delusional.
Well, fortunately, we have alternative press now.
Yep, absolutely. And fortunately, and they just keep, I'm wondering where she is at now, because I don't think she's with a major network any longer. Former host, ABC, daytime. Oh, that's right, she used to be on The View. Yeah, it doesn't matter where she's been. That's what it was. She was a senior advisor for John McCain's 2008 presidential run. How is it that you have people like her who are so vitriolically anti-conservative, anti-Republican, and they ended up working on John McCain's campaign? I mean, there's a guy, Michael Steele, and for a while he headed up the National Republican Party. We get to go. Oh, David's good to go. I'll tell this story later on. It's captivating. You're going to want to hear it. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. I'm Richard Randall, and welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with the host of the program, Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner-broker of your home sold, Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, a lot of people who want to move up to that next luxury home, but they've got a dilemma of a house to sell first. What are some ways that people can do that without the risks of having to wait for their homes to sell first?
Well, Richard, it's a tough scenario. It's called a catch-22 for home buyers that have a house to sell because they have a problem. Not only do they have to sell their home, but they have that uncertainty that's kind of baked into the market. What if the buyer backs out over they can't qualify for a loan? Or what if they back out because they don't reach agreement on inspection? I just closed a house yesterday. It took 3 contracts to get it done. The first buyer backed out over, I don't know, some random reason. We weren't really told why. The second one went all the way through inspection and appraisal, and then they claimed that the HOA's insurance wasn't enough to qualify for the financing, which I don't know if that's true or not. I still don't believe it. Anyway, they bailed out and we finally got the third buyer closed. So there's too much uncertainty baked into the traditional sales process. But there are solutions for people with a house to sell. One of the solutions is the traditional stuff that you hear from real estate agents is, oh, don't worry, get your house under contract and then make an offer contingent on your home selling, and it'll be fine. Well, it may not be fine. Anything could go wrong. There's a lot of ways where a buyer can bail out of a contract. And if it's like a multi-deal process, like your buyer has a house to sell, you have a house to sell, and then you're buying the third home, that creates a lot of opportunities for things to go sideways. So it's a big fear for home buyers because they want to have a destination in mind. They don't want to be rendered homeless if they get their home sold, but then they can't buy the next home until their home is sold. So it's a dilemma. Now, a lot of people say, oh, just get a bridge loan and bridge the equity from A to B. That's another opportunity, but you have to qualify for the payment of the bridge loan as well as the financing on your current home and the financing on your new home. So that might be tight for a lot of people. The other issue is timing. What if you see the perfect home? Oh my God, I love this home. I have to have it. Hit the market and your home isn't sold. So you're kind of in this situation where you can't buy it yet because you aren't able to take your equity out. Or let's say you do make an offer contingent on your home selling. And then when you get close to the finish line and you're trying to coordinate everybody's moves together, something goes wrong with somebody in the process. Like your buyer's lender doesn't get the work done on time. They can't close on time. That creates this cascading error problem where you've planned your move, you plan to buy your home, but they need the equity to buy their next home. And it could really create problems. I actually had somebody that just went through that experience where I sold her home, I did my job, but buying her next home, her seller of the home that she was buying decided that on the home that seller was buying wanted to put new carpet in. So she made her wait to get into her current home. So all these possession timing problems can really make the whole process a lot more stressful. So what if there is a better way? What if you didn't have to time the market and you saw your perfect home and you're like, I'm going to go buy it and I'm going to take my time moving and I'm going to take my time selling. So that's probably the best scenario. So one of the typical things that you see is go get a bridge loan and bridge the financing between A and B. And that's fine. The only downside is you got to pay interest while you carry that loan. So if you qualify for those two, there's nothing wrong with that. Another strategy would be to, some people have a paid for house and they can afford to just go buy their next home and then take their time selling their current home. That's kind of the best of both worlds if you're in that scenario. So some of the bridge loans are having a bank do it or having a lender do it. Like you can go to some of these local banks and go, hey, I want a home equity line of credit on my home. And you don't have to start paying interest until you pull the equity out. So let's say you wait until your home goes under contract, then you go buy that destination home and you don't actually have to start paying interest on it until it's time. The only catch to that is you actually have to have A, good credit, B, equity, typically more than 70% equity in your house, and C, be able to qualify for all of those payments. So if you're thinking of making that transition, one of the things that we bring to the table that a majority of agents don't, most agents' solution is to just go ahead and make a contingent offer and hope everything works out. Or I love the offers where they say, will you reserve the house for us? And our house isn't on the market yet, but just trust us. We're going to sell it eventually, right? That's the worst case scenario for most home sellers. And oftentimes those offers will get rejected. So when we come back from the break, my name is Barb Schlinker, by the way. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. I've been doing this for just over 5 years now, right, Richard?
Yeah, it's just about.
Yeah. So we're talking about how do home owners that need to buy their next home, how do they do it before selling their current home? So we actually have 6 different ways that you can do that without selling your current home and without a sale contingency and without bridge financing. So to find out, all you need to do is give us a call at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, host of the program, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I'm Richard Randall, and you can listen to replays of Barb's show anytime on all of the major podcast platforms, plus Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker. If you're thinking of making a move, simply call Barb. The number is 719-301-3900. Now, Barb, what are some other ways that homeowners who want to buy their next home are purchasing before they sell the current home?
Well, we actually have cash offer programs. So this is something that's also unique to Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, that we can basically find any address in the country, put that address up on the cash offer platform, and get multiple offers on that home. And these aren't horrible offers. Some of them are actually pretty good. Some of them are the buy before you sell program. Some of them are a little bit less than market value. Some of them are more than full market value. But it's nice to know if you're a home seller, hey, even though I might want to go through the traditional sales process and try to get the most money first, this is a really nice option to have these offers in your back pocket to go to the next step. So that's one strategy. And it gives you the certainty to know this is going to go through. We also have guaranteed sale programs where we guarantee an offer, we guarantee a price, and we guarantee the sale. And to find out more, all you need to do is give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. But to me, the most exciting ones that they're kind of new to the scene are these 6 really cool buy before you sell programs. 2 of them are lenders. So picture this, Richard. You want to buy your next home. You see your next home come on the market. You love it. You really want to have it, but you've got this problem of a house to sell. With this program, these 2 different lenders will go and buy your favorite home for cash and let you take your time selling your current home. And it's a very low cost option. It's less than 2% to get that done. And you're not even responsible for paying for the new home for a couple of months. Does that sound appealing to you?
It most decidedly does not sound appealing to me.
No. You don't like the risk?
No.
Yeah.
Am I
Well,
wrong
some
on that?
people, Well, I think it's awesome. I mean, when you think about
Wait,
it,
wait. Let's go back then because I don't think I understood it properly then, and I don't want you. I don't want you saying one thing and then me saying, "Oh no, that's horrible."
I was surprised at your answer. Well,
I was
maybe I didn't explain it right. Let me back up and do it
okay.
again.
I
Why don't we
because
do that?
all right, let's do that.
We'll set up the
Strategy.
re-scenario this.
All right, thank
Okay.
you.
All right. So Richard, let's say you want to move. Let's say you're planning to go to Florida, right? And you see that perfect home. You know, it's a downsized home. It's close to friends and family, and it's in the right location at the right price. But you have a house to sell first, right? But you can't afford both homes at the same time, but you have enough equity in order to buy that home once your home sells. How do you feel about your future lender, who you're going to be working with, just going ahead and paying cash for your new home and then letting you take your time selling your current home? Do you like that idea?
That sounds like a solution to this catch-22 that you're talking about all the time, Barb.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of programs like that. The cost is not very high. They make it easy. They give you 2 months before you even have to start paying on the new home, and they allow you to take your time selling your current home, which is really the issue that people have. They have the equity, they want to buy the new house, but they don't have the money for the down payment until they sell the new house. And I've seen people do the worst case scenario where they pull money out of a retirement to buy their new house, which is a tax problem. You got to pay taxes on that money, and it's really risky to do that versus finding another solution that's not nearly as expensive. So we have 6 different programs just like that. I helped one seller very recently use this program where his situation, he just retired, his retirement income hadn't kicked in. They picked their new house, but he didn't quite have verifiable income to close on that new house. So we deployed one of these programs where they didn't have to make any payments on the equity that they pulled out of their house. He was able to buy his new home. Then I sold his current home actually very quickly, and everything got paid off, and it was a smooth transition. So I think that's what everybody really wants when they do that. That way you don't have to worry about timing closing. You don't have to worry about what if things go wrong. You've already got it sorted out. So if you're interested in us going over all these different programs with you, give us a call at 719-301-3900. We help home sellers with these kind of programs all the time, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
This is one of the many reasons that I recommend you, a trusted Navy veteran, when thinking of buying or selling a home. I'm Richard Randall, and you're listening to Your Real Estate Voice, host of the program, Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty, and you can reach Barb at 719-301-3900 or barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to get your house ready to show and to sell. Stay tuned for that. And Richard will not get things backward on the catch-22 there. Okay.
No, actually, I'm glad you did that, because that told me that I wasn't explaining it right. I have to,
Well,
it's got to be a pitch.
well, you know what? I think this is just me. I'm ADD, and I have to admit that of everything we ever talk about on this show, it is the catch-22 that always trips me up. And it does that because I try, not you, you're not the problem, but I try to explain the sequence of having to sell the home you're in now and, you know, in order to buy the next home. But well, wait, under these circumstances, you can actually buy and move into the next home and then you sell this home. I'm the one who screws that up, Barb. I don't want you thinking that that's you. And I just screwed
Well,
it up trying to explain it now.
I think I gave too much detail for the radio. I like the second version better.
I'll tell you what, let me run to the men's room real quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you explained too much.
Yeah.
I agree.
TMI.
You're like, wait. Let's boil this down to its basic parts.
What'd you say?
I said, let's boil this down to its basic parts.
Yeah, make it very stupid simple.
Yeah.
All right, trying to make it louder. Can't hear you guys very well.
Always got to kiss the audience.
Yes, well, you're
Keep
right.
it simple, stupid is what kiss.
Really simple. Otherwise, confused mind does nothing, correct?
Absolutely. You're like, I don't understand it. Moving on.
All right, well, what is she talking about? Just like finance, you know, you hear about stock markets and hey, PE and all this junk. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's a guy.
There's a guy.
You want to talk.
Okay, give me a
You
second.
might be taking a break, right?
Yeah, let me put my shoes on. I took my shoes off because they were too tight.
Get up, Kurt.
I know, and now I got to put them back on to walk around.
Okay.
So many problems.
Yeah, he was just sitting right here.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I'm glad you told me. So I got the forms. I'm go get them on my bag. And I'm just, you want something to eat? So
Oh, thank you.
Hey, sorry, did somebody pop by?
Your
All right.
Pop-Tart clients, is that what you said?
Pop-Tart, yeah. I
That
knew
is-
it was coming by today. I just didn't know when, so
Okay.
I figured it would
That
be
is
later.
They
such,
pop up out of the car
That is such an accurate
and open the door.
Yeah. Pop-Tart, that happens sometimes. And I have the little on-air light that I put on the counter there.
Yeah.
So they just sit there quietly and wait.
Oh, that's very good. Oh my
So when
gosh.
when they saw the door open, one of my agents said, "Hey, there's somebody here." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
She got you one of those.
I
didn't
love
she?
it. I was just
Yeah.
thinking of it. In fact, I love it. I had it turned on. I need it more for just appearance when I shoot a video or something, as opposed to it, using it the way you do.
to
But
actually stop people.
yeah, it is absolutely one of my favorite things, and it was a great gift. So.
I'm glad you like it. It looks very retro.
And dogs can't read. So.
Well, and I've seen, honestly, I've seen some on-air lights at a couple of other places. This place, Sierra Sporting Goods up in Castle Rock, had some, and they were really inexpensive. So I went ahead and I bought one, and it looks like crap. I mean, it's just made out of plastic, and it just looks like it looks like a toy you'd buy for a child or something. All right, segment 3. Segment 3, and here we go. 3, 2, 1. I'm Richard Randall, and welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the host of the program. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, owner-broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, with the mortgage rates and the high... Now, Barb, with the mortgage rates and prices high, how do home sellers prepare to present their homes, and what should they do when they're expecting a showing?
Well, Richard, I think there's a lot of things to this that are kind of confusing. So most buyers, I would say a majority of them, will not buy a home sight unseen, although I do still see it happening. Could you imagine buying a house just based off the internet pictures? Would you do it?
I would not do that. And especially, we talked about it before. You have people who just drive out there, they get out of the car, they take their cell phone, take a couple of pictures, get back in the car, and drive away. I wouldn't trust that. I mean, you're using professionals. You get a good feel for what that house looks like. And yet, people only give it a little bit of time on their phone or even when they drive by.
And they can absolutely be deceiving. The
Yes.
pictures online, even if they're really nice pictures, and you go drive by the property and go, "Oh, no, I don't think so." So anyway, putting the home on the market, you want to make it look like the best home at the best price. That is really the way you get the most money. It's kind of counterintuitive to what people think. Oh, we'll ask for this high price, and if it doesn't work, we'll walk the price down. Well, that's not a good decision, because it's kind of like this demand destruction. You actually get the most ready to buy buyers in the first 2 weeks of it being on the market. So you want all the stars aligned for it to be priced right, for the pictures to look good, for it to be ready to show. And the showing part is very interesting. So it used to be years ago when I started in the industry, we would take a buyer out to look at homes. And normally the normal process would be that we sit down with the buyer, find out what they're looking for, make sure they are on their way if they don't already have a pre-qualification, but they are on the way to getting one. Or some buyers will just say, "Look, it's a non-issue. I've got plenty of money." Okay, fine. So a lot of times agents will show without the verification. And actually the state does not require that real estate agents verify that the buyer can buy at any point in the process. Did you know that? I can't hear you, Richard. And I can't see that. Is that note for me? Because I can't read it.
Well, actually, no, it's not for you. what we decided we might do is just put up a little thing here that says Barb Schlinker or Your Home Sold, guaranteed realty, so that as people look at the back of my monitor, they're seeing you one more time.
Oh,
It's too
how
bright. Okay.
sweet is that? That's
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, kind of twisted my brain for a second. Oh, look at that. There's my logo. All right, so anyway, to get the buyers, so that used to be the process where you would actually meet with them, and then the agent actually had an influence about what homes the buyer would see. Well, that's not the case anymore. The buyers tell me all the time, I found the house. I just drugged my agent with me, right? It really does kind of diminish the value of a good real estate agent. I'm not making fun of agents this time. I'm just talking about how the way the internet has created the environment where the buyers are seeing the home and then they're deciding which homes they want their agent to go with them to see. Hopefully the agents go with them. So buyers are pretty well versed on pricing. They know what's available in their price range. If they're actively looking for a home right now, they're just gobbling up what's available. They're researching the heck out of it online. They're looking at what's around it. What are the prices around? They know way more than a lot of real estate agents about that one little micro market of what they're looking for. So it really falls upon the listing agent in order to create demand for that home. So how is that done? Well, first of all, it's done with pictures. Your first showing is online. That's why Zillow coined the phrase screen appeal is the new curb appeal. In other words, you cannot get them to come buy the house if they don't like what they see online. So it falls on the agent's shoulders and the sellers. I think the sellers should have something to do with this about what pictures they like and what pictures they don't like. And we try to make it an interactive thing that we're talking about this. So that's really, really important because you can't get the buyers to come and see it if they don't like everything that they've seen on the internet. So what do you do when it is time to get your house ready for showing? Well, first of all, a lot of agents do not want the home sellers to be there when they're showing. Now, it seems odd to me. It's their home, but it's sort of like the agents got used to how they normally do things, and now they think that's right and that's how it's supposed to be. But I've had buyers say that they don't feel comfortable with the seller there because they can't speak freely about their opinion of the house. Of course, they don't have to do it in the house, but they do. But there could be some distractions, like if the seller is walking the buyer through the house and basically doing what I call a Vanna White. Sometimes they point out too many flaws. Sometimes they don't let the buyer take it in at their pace. That was something I picked up early in my career, that when you're showing a home, you want the buyer to drive it, because the buyer might be more interested in the kitchen than they're interested in the garage, or vice versa. I remember the first time I actually learned this in practice, I thought, okay, I'm going to try it. I'm not going to do the Vanna White. I'm going to open the door and see where the buyer goes. Now, this particular buyer worked at a golf course fixing landscaping. And this big backyard was overgrown. It was a mess. It had all kinds of stuff growing everywhere. So he walked straight through the house, didn't even look at the house, went out the back door, looked at the big overgrown backyard, and he goes, I love it. I'll take it. Never looked at the house. So for him, that was his room. It was the backyard and the landscaping. And it varies with different buyers. So you got to find out what's important to them. And then sometimes the buyers think that the agents need the education of looking at homes. I don't. I've seen, I don't know how many homes. I do like looking at homes. I actually remember homes more than addresses, what they look like and that kind of thing. But you have to be careful about some things that can turn buyers off, like certain pets in a cage, lizards, snakes. I actually have one guy, Richard. here in Colorado that had a fish tank in his basement full of pet scorpions. Now, I'm sorry, but that just grosses me out even today thinking about it. What do you think of that?
I think I guarantee there are going to be some people who come through and say, you know what, I kind of like this house, but when this guy moves and we move in, are there going to be scorpions that escaped and they're crawling around in the basement or the air shafts or something?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Thank God they moved out before we put it on the market. But anyway, so you want to remove the kids. Actually, you're not allowed to go into a house when there's a minor present without an adult. That's against the law. So hopefully that's not happening. Too many cars, a big pile of remotes on the counter. Prescription meds, please lock those away. I know most people are generally honest, but not everybody is. You don't want to open the door for that kind of thing. Mouse traps will make people think you have a pest problem. Pet bowls are just not pretty. I'm sorry. And of course, valuables like jewelry, especially little pieces of jewelry laying around, all those kind of things. You just don't want to open the door for somebody to take little stuff. Secure that somewhere where people can't get it. And then you don't even have to think about it if you do want to leave and let somebody show your home. So typically, I see this happen all the time. The agents show up late. They show up early. They no show. They leave lights on. They leave doors unlocked. They leave the exact combo in the combo box. You name it, they do it. Okay. They still continue to do it. I don't know why. They have trouble with that basic attention to detail. But at the end of the day, just be cognizant that you might have to go by and kind of recheck the property afterwards. I love it when sellers have cameras inside and outside their home. That makes me very happy. And you have to assume in this day and age, don't you think, Richard, that pretty much anywhere you're going to go, you're going to be on camera, right?
I think so. And especially as we've talked about before, you're walking around the house, you're outside the house, whatever. Somebody's liable to have a ring camera and be looking at what you talked about.
That's right. And I have gotten feedback from sellers where they're saying, why is the agent standing there telling them that the house won't be approved for that financing or it's not worth that much? What, aren't they supposed to be selling? Why are they doing that? And it's how some agents justify their value, is they basically try to sound like they know what they're talking about and talk smack about the house, when many times they have no idea really what they're talking about. And here's the thing. The state does not require that you have to verify the buyer can buy. Also doesn't require that you have to verify that the buyer that you know what the buyer's asking for. Many times the agents are using the showing opportunity in order to meet a maybe buyer and hope they like it. And if they don't like that, they're going to take them to some other house. So a lot of times there's no vetting, no qualification, no anything. And they're meeting them at the door. Just look at Zillow. If you look at a house on Zillow, you'll see the blue button that says the next tour is in 15 minutes. Click right here to get the next tour. The consumer wants the next tour. And if the agent doesn't give them the next tour, they'll find some other agent to do it. That's the way Zillow is designed. That's how they became $1 billion company, by selling buyer leads to real estate agents. And, it's unfortunate that it's set up that way, but it is. So you want to make sure that when somebody's coming to look at your house, that don't have real high expectations. The time to get excited is when you get an offer. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how do you get your home ready to show. And the next up, we're going to talk about the rest of the things that you should consider when you're getting your house ready to show. And by the way, I have thousands of buyers just on my little website, but I'm no comparison to Zillow that has 70% of the buyer's eyes, that has 250 million monthly visitors on their website. And because we upgrade our listings on Zillow, typically we can find over 1,000 that are a high match for your home, and we market directly to them. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a chance. Give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
So, Barb, what are some other things that home sellers ought to be doing before they allow their home to actually be shown to people?
Well, first impressions absolutely matter, and buyers don't have the money typically to come in and remodel a home unless the home is priced way below market. And then they'll get a renovation loan to do it. And they're doing it because affordability. They can actually afford the home better if they get a lower priced home. So you want to make sure flooring in particular, replace any soiled carpets. Credits will not work because the lenders won't let you do it and the buyers won't make an offer. Neutralize any dramatic colors. Please paint the Bronco orange wall in the living room. It's okay to have one colorful bedroom. You don't have to worry too much about that. Remove heavy furniture, remove excess furniture. Put away all the bathroom toiletries, plungers, soaps, rugs. Everything has to be not visible during showings. Don't let cars be parked in front. And rely on the expertise of your agents. Usually they know how to get this done because they've been out showing homes. Please don't use air fresheners. Oh my God, there's people that are allergic to it. The buyer automatically assumes that when they walk in the door and they get that overwhelming smell of those air fresheners that you're trying to cover up something stinky. That's what they think. Fix broken stuff. Replace older smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. And if you have a lot of personal photos, I do recommend, it's okay to have some, but you don't want a whole family wall, because it's overwhelming for the buyers. They are there to visualize themselves living there. So you have to take some of your personal stuff out. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. We do this all the time. Or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You jumped ahead. Let me get to it here real quickly.
Sorry. I ran
No,
out.
it's good. No, it's good. It's fine. I just, what's that?
It's
I
necessary.
ran.
It is necessary, but it's all good. It's all good. 3, 2, 1. You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program, and if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing what to do if you bought your home at the top of the market, plus have little to no equity and need to sell now, plus Barb's hot new listings. Don't miss any of that. And I did tell David, I got away from, if it wasn't written down on the script, I didn't say who I was. And actually, I was listening to the program on Saturday. I was out driving, and I listened to the program on Saturday. Oh my God, you know what? It sounds so good. It feels like one thing when you're just sitting here and you're watching, the sausage be made or whatever the heck it is. Driving around and listening to it, it is so, so good. But what I realized is that, I do an endorsement of you, and I'm sitting in on the show and helping you with it. And if I don't say who I am, it takes away just an opportunity to have a little bit more endorsement from me to you. So that's why I've been saying who I am.
I'm
Does that make sense?
thrilled with you doing that. I'm sorry that I'm not been polite enough to.
Oh, no,
say
no,
your
no,
name enough.
nope. No. That's not the deal. Is that going to be, was she able to see that?
Yeah, that's the certified pre-owned home thing. Cool. Nice. That's pretty.
Well, we'll have to get it so that it's in exactly the right spot, the right size and everything. But
Tape it to that monitor.
yeah, I think it's just a matter of time. And then we can do that during my show too. And so people are watching me for 2 hours and they're seeing you up there as well. All right. I've got the final one ready to go.
Ready.
I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Richard Randall, and welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, host of the program, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner-broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, some people got caught up in the buying frenzy from 2020 to 2022 and put very little down on some of the homes. Now that the prices have corrected down some, What do home sellers do if they bought their home at the top of the market, they have little or no equity, and they need to sell?
Well, Richard, there's a lot of options for home sellers that really need to sell and they have no equity. But the worst option is if you let it go back to the bank. That can be a problem. And these lenders will promise you the moon and not do it. I've talked to quite a few homeowners that were on the other side of foreclosure, and they told me, I didn't even know it was foreclosing already. I thought it was in the middle of a loan modification. So you have to pay attention to what they're doing. Once a borrower gets behind, for most people, it's kind of difficult to play catch up, but it could be worked out with loan modifications. Your house could be sold on a short sale, or you could keep it and catch up and just rent it until the values come back. I do think, over the long term, real estate does eventually go back up. It's just right now with the rates high. And what kind of happened during the boom back then from 18 through 23 is that the prices went up so much artificially because of the artificially low interest rates that it's not a normal market process. I've been doing this almost 30, actually, right. This is my 30th year in real estate, and I have seen the traditional increase or normal appreciation that we see in home values is not double digits. It might be 3 to 5%. That's normal. But when it went crazy during those few years, the prices haven't really corrected back down to that normal level, and the rates are high. So now the buyers have a problem because they can't afford the payment. Even a $400,000 mortgage, the payment is over $3,000 a month. The average buyer cannot afford that. And so it's creating a lot of problems, especially when we've got a lot of military, a lot of people that are retired or using their VA benefits to buy homes in this area. They bought those homes during the boom. They got into a bidding war. They put zero down. They got 100% financing. Walking in the door with the VA funding fee, which is a mortgage insurance that they add to your loan balance. Basically what happened is they were upside down walking in, and they continue to be that way because the values have now slowly and gradually and continually are dropping. So what do you do 3 to 4 years later if you really need to sell? I've seen people do short sales. One thing I learned recently is what a short sale is you're asking the lender to accept less than what is owed. And the lenders will accept this because it costs them more money to process a foreclosure. The house gets trashed. It's not as good for them if the house gets lost. But usually they will net more money on a short sale. What a short sale is you get a buyer willing to make an offer, and you ask the lender to accept less than what's owed on the house, to release the mortgage for less than what is owed. And the amount that they release is enough to cover the cost of selling, commissions, taxes, and title. But what I learned recently is for the veterans, particularly the active duty veterans, they don't have to miss a payment and trash their credit to do a short sale, which is really a good thing. That's something new that they started doing. So it is a possibility, and it's all about pricing it right to get your buyer and then working through the process. We know how to do that. I actually wrote a book about it years ago during the meltdown, and it's quite a bit of work. Now I outsource the process of the whole short sale thing to another company. We make the buyer pay the expenses because they're getting a really good deal. And it's an awesome program. But there are some other options. You could just keep the house, sit on it. If you have to move, rent it out. Not too many people want to be landlords. There's a lot of risk to that, a lot of fear in that, which rightfully so. But did you know, Richard, you can buy insurance policies that protects you against the tenant trashing the house? Did you know that?
Actually, I had no idea, but it actually makes sense because that would be a pretty good thing to have under a lot of circumstances.
It would. So that's an option if you want to rent it and just sit on it until the market turns around. Another option is to sell it for less than what's owed. I've had sellers actually come to the closing table and just write a check to get rid of their problem, which is tough. It's not the best scenario. I helped one home seller recently, Richard. I think you'll like the story. When I met him, well, what happened was in 2023, his granddaughter talked him into buying a house. He was 90. And, the granddaughter says, "Oh, Grandpa, we'll buy a house together. You use your VA 100% financing." This guy's on a cane. So they pick a bi-level that has stairs. You have to do stairs from the garage to the house to the main level. Anyway, she bails out on him. She walks away and he's stuck with the payments. Now he's very particular about his credit. A lot of seasoned citizens are that way. They want their credit to be good. And I said, you can short sale the house. Well, I'm not doing that. That's going to mess up my credit. I said, all right, you can rent it. No, I don't trust anybody. I said, well, the other option is you can actually sell the home subject to the existing financing, which means somebody just takes over payments and pays your mortgage. So you stay on the mortgage, they be the owner. No, I don't trust anybody to do that. And the other option would have been probably just to rent it. None of those things would work. So he hired me to sell the house because the values were dropping. And it wasn't even an option to assume a VA loan. A lot of people don't know, Richard, that if you have a low interest VA loan and you allow somebody to assume that loan, they don't have to be a veteran. All they have to have is the difference between the asking price and the loan amount. And they can come in and walk in to your house payment and take over. And the credit reporting stops from you at that point, and the new buyer is the one that they report to. It's a really great benefit. So don't discard that. But this guy was just terrified. And of course, that person that would assume your VA loan has to intend to occupy. So we tried to sell. Finally, he said, "Barb, I only trust you. Will you take my home subject to the current financing?" And I said, "Yes, I will. I told you I would do that." So what that meant to me is I have to keep the mortgage current, but I can't assume his loan because I'm not living there. But then I went ahead and rented it out. So the rental income does not match the payment. The payment's definitely higher than the rental income. But for me, it's a tax write-off. It works for me. And he was a Korean War POW. So I was happy to do one for the Lord. I still am. And I think eventually those values are going to come back up. We got a happy tenant. I'm a happy owner because we now own that home, but that financing is still on that property. Isn't that interesting, Richard?
It is, and I'll tell you what is not surprising is your respect for other veterans. People know that you're a veteran. You have so much respect for other veterans like this man.
Thank you. So anyway, there are some options, definitely. I don't think there's really that many foreclosures going on in Colorado. If you compare that to what happened, and I was in the real estate business during the meltdown, it was a big number of people that were foreclosing, letting it go. And it just became this big cascading effect of homes in default. And that became the new standard of home values at the time. Not the case right now. There's still a lot of beautiful homes being sold. So if you are thinking of making a move, and you would like to explore these different options, if you don't have a lot of equity in your home, give us a call. We have a lot of options for home sellers at 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're interested in selling or buying, call Barb, 719-301-3900. And we're talking, Barb, about the people who are having trouble making their house payments and those who don't have the equity to sell without making payments. Someone else is going to take it off their hands. Barb, what should people who are having, oh gosh, that's a mouthful. Let me do that again. 3, 2, 1. You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're interested in selling or buying, call Barb 719-301-3900. And we're talking, Barb, about the people who are having trouble making their house payments and those who don't have the equity to sell it without paying someone to take it off of their hands. Barb, what should people having this trouble do with their mortgage?
Well, Richard, if a foreclosure is unavoidable, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It does mean you may not be buying a house for a number of years into the future. Some people don't care about that. It will, anytime you miss a house payment, it probably drops a bomb on your credit by about 100 points. It does hurt, but a lot of people think that what happens is these lenders will tell the borrower, oh, you're in foreclosure, but they haven't officially started the process. The actual start of the process is when you get an official notice in the mail that says notice of election and demand. At that point, it's public record. There is a notice for everybody to see. And at that point, you have still at least 120 days to get that home sold. And you can do that. You can sell it before it forecloses. I've seen some people walk away from houses where they had a ton of equity available. They could have just priced it realistically, put it on the market and sold it without doing any repairs or updates. But some people just kind of get stuck and don't know what to do and don't have the answers and just walk away. So what should they do if they're having trouble? Well, number one, talk to your lender. Sometimes you can get the lender to delay the sale. Sometimes you can get your lender to do a loan modification. They're supposed to help you with that. But you want to make sure that you understand what is your drop dead date of when the bank is going to take the house. And then at that point, they're still not going to come and get you. Okay. It takes some time for most of these lenders to figure out, okay, now it's foreclosed. Now we got to get somebody to get, make sure the house is empty, and it may not be empty. Many of these lenders will offer those borrowers money to move out because it's cheaper than the eviction process, especially the VA, they do it. So if you want more details, if you're in that situation, we can help people. We do it all the time. Give us a call at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, let's finish up. You've got some hot new listings this week. Tell us about them.
I do. I have a beautiful Briargate 2-story. This home has an abundance of luxury vinyl flooring, granite counters, 2 big sheds in the backyard. Really gorgeous home, priced at $534,999. Lovely home with spectacular views on Agate Creek. Say that again. Lovely home with spectacular views on Agate Creek Place in Monument with just amazing front range views, priced in the mid 600s. Beautiful home on Kasdan, remodeled in the mid 300s. Spectacular home up in Divide, overlooking a fishing pond at $699 on Blue Mesa. Beautiful home on 35 acres with a massive barn garage in the low 6s on Jorba Grove. Another amazing home on Reno Road, 62 acres, priced at $599. This home is the perfect multi-generational home. And it's a ranch with a walkout basement and 2 separate living areas on the main level. Lots of garage space. You'll love it. Beautiful ranch on 10890 Cascading Spring Drive. This home is a smart home where you can leave it for a while, set it and forget it on your app and have it monitored the whole time. Amazing home downtown on Fountain that has lots of square footage, and it has the ability to have your commercial business on the main level and live on the upper levels. Gorgeous home over on Moose Jaw in the low 600s. Fantastic home in Crystal Park on Sugarloaf Road in the mid 700s. Beautiful home on Mead Avenue at 335. Another amazing home on Bridle in Woodland Park in the upper 6s. A spectacular home with a 3-car garage at $474,999 in the northeast part of town. Pueblo home on Gold King in the mid 3s. Amazing home on 5 acres on Warriors Path. An amazing home on Judge Orr Road that actually has 80 acres several barns, an auxiliary living unit, and a spectacular custom home at just under 1.4 million. Another gorgeous 35-acre property with a shop with an auxiliary living space in Florissant on County Road 421 at 2.15 million. And a home up in Elizabeth on Private Road 17, priced at $1,099,000, 35 acres, massive outbuilding, perfect for RVs, critters, whatever you need, plus a barn, priced at $1,099,000. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every Saturday. If you're thinking of making a move, call the host of the program, Barb Schlinker, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. And remember, you can see replays of the show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker, or listen to the podcast on all of the popular podcast platforms like Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and many, many others. Thank you for listening. Again, to reach out to Barb, 719-301-3900. Barb, great talking with you. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great